Hello, my name is Josh Sinet, and this is my Fairbanks weather observation for Unit 4 in ATM 101. I took these observations from January 28th through February 1st. As you will see, my observations are compared to the data collected at the Fairbanks International Airport. This map is simply a reminder of where Fairbanks is located in Alaska. The precise location of my weather station is on the University of Alaska Fairbanks, and is denoted by the black star in this image. Okay, so as you can see, this is my comparison graph for air temperature. Now, as I stated before, it's comparing my observations with the data collected at the Fairbanks International Airport, which is approximately 9 miles from my location. I took these observations every day for 5 days straight, at times ranging from 1:44 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. The graph shows that my data was a little off. I had the general idea in which the temperature got colder throughout the week and then warmed up to the end of the week, but my temperatures were higher than they should have been. I don't really know why this happened, but I was suspicious throughout the week because my min temperatures just didn't seem cold enough. I am now going to run through my temperatures and talk about the wind, precipitation, and cloud cover for each day. So on January 28th at 3:30 p.m., I had a current temperature of 22.8 degrees Fahrenheit. My max temperature was 25.2 degrees Fahrenheit and a min temperature of 22.8 degrees Fahrenheit. There was no wind whatsoever, so I had a Beaufort number of 0, and the clouds, they filled the sky, probably a fourth of the sky, and they had stratus clouds. On January 29th at 3:17 p.m., I had a current temperature of 19 degrees Fahrenheit. I had a max temperature of 24.5 degrees Fahrenheit, a min temperature of 10 degrees Fahrenheit. On this day there was a little bit more wind, but not much. I had a Beaufort number of 1, and the only reason I could tell was because my breath would get carried away. Now there was no clouds in the sky on the 29th. Now on January 30th at 3:20 p.m., my current temperature was 8.7 degrees Fahrenheit. I had a max temperature of 18.6 degrees Fahrenheit and a min temperature of 0.6 degrees Fahrenheit. The wind, once again, I had a Beaufort number of 1, and it was because of the same reason. And my cloud coverage was altocumulus, and it was approximately 1/8 of the sky. On January 31st at 2:43 p.m., I recorded a current temperature of 5.5 degrees Fahrenheit, a max temperature of 9 degrees Fahrenheit, a min temperature of 5.4 degrees Fahrenheit, and a Beaufort number of 1 again. My cloud coverage was altocumulus, and it was approximately a fourth of the sky. Now on my last day of observations on February 1st at 1:44 p.m. I had a current temperature of 11.9, a max temperature of 11.9, a min temperature of negative 3.1 degrees Fahrenheit, and my Beaufort number was 1 once again. My cloud coverage was stratocumulus, and this time it was covering the entire sky. This is my pressure plot. My observations match up really well with the observed data at the airport. Throughout the week the pressure was steadily increasing, as you can see by the chart here. On the first day, January 28th, I observed 1011 millibars. On January 29th, it rose to 1016 millibars. On January 30th, it rose again to 1019 millibars. On January 31st, I observed 1024 millibars. And on my final day, February 1st, it rose to 1030 millibars. These observations indicate that there was a high pressure system moving into the area and that it remained in the area throughout the week. This is a view of the weather on January 28th. There's a slight cloud cover over Fairbanks that I was also able to observe in my observations. Now Fairbanks would be located around this area here. As you can see, there really isn't a high or low pressure right by Fairbanks. The closest one is this high pressure system that's in Canada. Another thing I wanted to point out is this cold front right here that is facing towards Fairbanks. This cold front explains the temperature starting to decrease in my observations. Other than that, the only thing I want you to take a look at is the high pressure systems and the low pressure systems. We have the high pressure systems here in the southeast Alaska area, as well as up into Canada, and the low pressure systems are over here in the Aleutian Islands and up into the Bering Sea and Russia. Now just keep an eye on where they're at, because throughout the week they will move around and it'll change. Here's the today's weather map for January 29th. A high pressure system has moved right over Fairbanks, which explains the increase in pressure that I observed. Along with this high pressure system, we received clear skies, and the clear skies also explain the decrease in temperature. Other things to keep in mind are the shift in the cold fronts. Now these right here, this cold front here and this occluded front, have moved right towards Alaska, as well as over here we have these cold fronts and these warm fronts that have also moved in towards Alaska, and you'll see that's going to cause a shift in the weather. Now, as I stated before, we have the high concentration of the high pressure systems in the right side of the image, and we have the high concentration of the low pressure systems in the left side of the image. And as you can see, they've moved a little bit, but not too much. This is the weather map for January 30th. Fairbanks seems to be in between two high pressure systems, and the clouds seem to come back. Notice that there's also a fog marking that is near Fairbanks. This was another thing that I observed during the week. Now, the warm and cold fronts along the coast of Alaska and into Canada are gone, but we still have these two occluded fronts in the left of the map, and they are still pushing in towards Alaska. This is the weather map for January 31st. A high pressure system still remains over Fairbanks, but the clouds are a lot thicker in this image than they were in the previous one. I found that kind of weird because I only saw partial clouds on this day. Other than that, you just take a look at this occluded front here, which has actually pushed its way into Alaska. Now we also have this cold front behind it that is pushing in as well. This was my final day of observations. It was February 1st. On this day, the temperature started to go back up again. We still had an increase in pressure, which I believe was caused by the high pressure system right outside of Alaska in Canada. This map looks completely different than the previous day. The cloud coverage, take for example, before it was real thick and it was covering all of Alaska. Now it's really scattered. It still covers Alaska, but it's very scattered. Another thing is look at the high pressure areas and the low pressure areas. They are now intermixing. Before it was always high pressure on one side, low pressure on the other side, but now they've come together. These are the GOES images, and they're actually from a week later than my observations took place, but I didn't realize that we had to get them until long after my observation date, so I got what I could. I still figured I would take a look at them because they are interesting to me. Now the first thing I noticed on the today weather map is there's light cloud cover over Alaska. This coincides with the infrared image that's in the top right, as well as the visible map, which is on the bottom left. I believe these clear skies have something to do with the high pressure system. This is because everywhere there's a high pressure system on this weather map, there are very light clouds. And on the other hand, everywhere there's a low pressure system on the map, there seems to be clouds. Now take a look at the lower right hand section of the today's weather map. This is where a low pressure system is taking place. We also have a cold front and a warm front that coincide and turn into an occluded front. Now on every other image on this page, in this certain location, there's cloud coverage. And if you look at the bottom right hand image, which is the water vapor image, it even shows that there's moisture there. Well, that's all I have for you, but I hope you enjoyed my presentation. Thanks.